Hi guys, before we get into the video, I'd just like to say a big sorry for no video in basically like a month or something like that. But I've just been massively busy with university recently. I've had a couple of courseworks that have been very long that I've needed to put a lot of effort into. So they've had to take priority. And also, video editing is something I'm still very new to, and it's a big learning curve, and there's a lot of stuff I need to learn in order to get my editing on point, because video editing for me is a big reason why I'm doing this. It's something I enjoy, but I need to learn it. But anyways, I hope you enjoy my outfit, because Lewis Hamilton has recently won his seventh World Championship, which is obviously tying Michael Schumacher's record. So I've got my Vodafone McLaren Mercedes victory t-shirt and the 2011 Lewis cap as well. So yeah, enjoy the video. Are Pierre Gasly and Alexander Albon good Formula 1 drivers? Is Max Verstappen so blindingly quick that he destroys other drivers' careers? Or is that Red Bull seat a poison chalice? In this video, I'm going to give my opinions on all of these questions and more. So, one of the biggest talking points in Formula 1 right now is the mystery of that second Red Bull seat. Why is it that since Daniel Ricciardo left the team in 2018, every driver who has stepped into that seat ever since has performed much worse than we all thought? Is that second Red Bull seat a curse? Well, it's silly to say so. What I really mean is that car, albeit a fast car, difficult to drive? Is Max Verstappen so good that he makes his teammates look weak? Now, to answer this, or to help to answer this question, I'm going to firstly delve into the junior careers of both Alexander Albon and Pierre Gasly to see how well they did in the junior series. Now, it's important to know that junior series is not entirely representative of your Formula 1 career. Just because you do well in junior series does not mean that you will be an amazing Formula 1 driver. Formula 1 is a completely different ball game, completely different level, completely different expectations, and there's a lot more pressure in Formula 1 because now you're in the big leagues, now you're with the supposed world's best drivers. Now, a lot of these drivers in Formula 1 are fantastic drivers, but I think we can all agree that not every driver in Formula 1 right now is there purely because of the talent. I'm sure there's some drivers who are there and they can be talented in their own right, but money is definitely a very important, more than ever now with the expenses that Formula 1 has these days, that money is highly important. But I digress. Now, if you look at Pierre Gasly's junior career, it really isn't that bad at all. I mean, he's won a couple of single-seater championships. He's also finished second a couple of times. He won the Formula Renault 2.0 series in only a second attempt. Now, obviously, it would have been even more amazing if he won it in his debut season, but winning in your second season is also not bad at all. But if you look at the rivals he had in his Formula Renault 2.0 championship winning season, you know, he had Esteban Ocon, Nick de Vries, Oliver Rowland. Now, these are all great drivers in their own right, but they're not fantastic, legendary, all-time greats. But they are good drivers. They're not bad at all. But, you know, if you had faced someone like, you know, a Max Verstappen or Charles Leclerc, would have looked even better on his CV. But hey, look, you won the title in a second attempt, and if you win single-seater championships, you're not bad at all. And he also won the GP2 series in his second full season. Now, I have to admit, his main title rival was Antonio Giovinazzi, and as we can see in Formula 1, Giovinazzi's not the best driver. I mean, he's losing to a 41-year-old Raikkonen, and a 41-year-old Raikkonen is nowhere near as good as what he was in his McLaren stint. They're like almost two different drivers, but that's what age does to you. So his GP2 title, although on paper looks very impressive, he didn't have the stiffest of competition. But hey, look, a GP2 title is a GP2 title, and I do believe if you manage to win in either your first or second season, you've done well. And he won it in the second season, so fair play. He also finished second in his one and only Formula Renault 3.5 series, and he lost it to Carlos Sainz Jr. Now, Carlos Sainz Jr. is a very solid driver. And if you get the chance to drive for the Ferrari team in Formula 1, now that's like almost the pinnacle of motorsport. That's like one of the most coveted seats you could possibly have if you're a racing driver. Ferrari seat in Formula 1? Does it get any better than that? Well, to be fair, they've been an absolute shopping trolley this season. But still, Ferrari seat in Formula 1, you can't say Carlos Sainz is a bad driver. I do think he's a little overrated, but he's very solid. I think he's better than the likes of Hülkenberg, who I think is very, very overrated right now after his Eiffel Grand Prix performance, which, look, I'm not denying it was very impressive to step back in the car and finish in the points after starting last, after not having driven the car for ages. That is highly impressive, but let's not forget he's been in F1 for 10 years and not had a single podium. It's not great, but hey, look, Gasly finishing second to Carlos Sainz in his one and only Formula Renault 3.5 season, no shame at all. And then you look at his Super Formula season, his one and only Super Formula season, which I believe he was put in Super Formula because there wasn't a space for him in Formula 1 yet. And he had also won the GP2 title, so he wasn't allowed to have another season of that. So Red Bull decided to put him in Super Formula. And he finished second. And he probably would have won the title because you look at his results, he doesn't score any points in the first two. And in the next two races, he's solidly in the midfield. And then the next three, he wins two of them and finishes on the podium once. So he was improving throughout the season. And probably would have won the title if it wasn't for the last round of the season being cancelled because of bad weather. So, you know, you look at Pierre Gasly's career, he's won a couple of titles. He's finished in the top 3 in 5 championships in total. It's not a bad junior career at all. I mean, I've seen better, but I've seen an awful lot worse as well. You look at the likes of Nicolas Latifi, who's in Formula 1 now, hasn't won anything in his junior career. And if you know, Mick Schumacher's junior career is probably similar to Pierre Gasly's in many ways. You know, they've both won championships in their second season of competing, and Mick Schumacher's about to win the Formula 2 title probably in his second season. So definitely Pierre Gasly is a talented driver. But now we're going to move on to Alexander Albon, and things are a little bit different here. Now, I don't want to be rude to Alexander Albon because he's a nice lad and he has shown that he is capable on his day, but his junior record is really not as impressive as Pierre's. Now, Alexander Albon and Pierre Gasly are kind of the same age, and they've also competed in similar series at kind of similar times. But as I said, Pierre Gasly has won 2 single-seater championships and finished in the top 3 in 5 of them. Alexander Albon has not won a single junior series title. And it does make me wonder, did Red Bull hire him more so because he's from Thailand? Well, he's not actually from Thailand. He's born in the UK, but I believe his parents are from Thailand. And he races with a Thai license. And I believe Red Bull is kind of a Thai company, even though they're also Austrian. But I think they have links with Thailand as well. So I think people have said anyway that that's one of the reasons why Alex Albon was hired. And to be honest with you, I can kind of understand why they're saying that, because usually, you know, most Formula 1 drivers have at least won one championship in single-seaters in their junior careers. With Alexander Albon, he has not won any, and he finds himself in the second best Formula 1 car right now, which is a bit surprising. But anyways, let's look at his highlights. Finishing third in a Formula Renault 2.0 series in 2014. But bear in mind that this is his 3rd season, so he's kind of experienced in that particular series now. If he had finished 3rd in his second season, or even better, his third season, I could say, that's not bad. His third season, and only at that point could he manage a top 3 position in the championship. It's not pretty. His other highlights include coming second in the GP3 series. Now, to be fair, it was his rookie season, so finishing second in your rookie GP3 season is very impressive, to be honest. It's nothing to be disappointed about. And if you look at the driver he lost it to Charles Leclerc, who, he's one of the most talented drivers on the grid in Formula 1 right now. So losing to Charles Leclerc is really no shame at all in that. So, finishing second in GP3 is pretty good. There's Formula 2 career, it was okay, finishing 10th in his first season. I mean, I've seen worse. And in 2018, he nearly finished second in the championship, and he lost it to, let's say, 2 of the most popular drivers in Formula 1 right now, George Russell and Lando Norris. George Russell, I don't really know where to rate him at the moment, because he's in probably the worst race car on the grid, worst Sunday car on the grid in Formula 1 right now. But Nick Latifi really isn't as far off Russell as I thought. I mean, okay, in qualifying, Russell is massively better, but in the races, he's actually not as strong as I thought. But, he's in the worst car, so it's difficult really to say. But, I expected better. But my ultimate point is, you can clearly see that one has had a more impressive junior career than the other. But I did say earlier that Junior Series is not really representative of how well someone will do in Formula 1. So let's, not delve too much into that. But, that you can clearly see that they're both talented and they both have had top 3 positions in the championship, on multiple occasions. I guess we need to come on to the big question of why has Alex Albon and Pierre Gasly done so much worse in that Red Bull compared to the likes of Ricciardo and Verstappen. Both Verstappen and Ricciardo have been on the podium many, many times in the Red Bull and have won many races, or at least a handful of races. And you add, Gasly's 12 races at Red Bull in 2019 and Albon's probably 20 or so races in a team, and it amounts to just one podium compared to God knows how many podiums Verstappen and Ricciardo had together at Red Bull. I believe Verstappen's had about 17 podiums since 2019 compared to the one that his 2 teammates have had collectively, and it's just really surprising. I think first of all, the important thing to note is that Red Bull pretty much has all of their eggs in Max Verstappen's basket. We've heard various times from Helmut Marko that he wants to make Max Verstappen the youngest world champion in history. So you can clearly see that the entire team is focused on Verstappen and not really giving too much attention to the second driver. Perhaps that can have a negative effect on the second driver. Perhaps Gasly and Albon both didn't feel that they had the right amount of support, the necessary support from the team, and maybe they felt a bit, well, not lonely, I think lonely is the wrong word, but just not supported enough, and maybe that could have had a negative effect on their performance and just their general morale. Secondly, Max Verstappen is just a once-in-a-generation talent, or maybe him and Leclerc are very similarly on a similar level. But the fact is, what we've seen from Verstappen making your F1 debut at the age of 17 years old, before he's even had a proper legal, road license, is just absolutely insane. I mean, Verstappen is easily the youngest driver in the history of Formula 1 by, I'm pretty sure it's over a year. I think Lance Stroll is the second youngest, but he was 18 years old. He's 17 is a massive deal. Jos Verstappen basically made Max skip all of the junior series Formula 3 to... I mean, he had one season in Formula 3, but that's pretty much the only single-seater experience he's ever had. And to go into Formula 1 so quickly and perform so quickly, nearly finishing on a podium with Toro Rosso, winning a race with Red Bull in your first ever season, having this Dutch crowd right behind you, it puts a lot of pressure on whoever's his teammate, because Max Verstappen is getting all the hype and attention. He's the real deal. His teammate is just seen as second rate, and it must be totally demoralizing for whoever's his teammate. And if you're Pierre Gasly or you're Alex Albon and you do a qualifying session and you're giving your absolute best and you feel you've done a great lap, and you come back to the garage and you see that your teammate has out-qualified you by half a second, and you're thinking, what the hell happened here? Like, how am I so far behind? I was pushing like crazy and I'm still half a second behind. And to the casual person, half a second is nothing, but in Formula 1, half a second is a year. And I'm sure they must have gone through the telemetry and thinking, how has Max done this? How has he done that? How is Max able to brake so much later and, do, unbelievable lines through certain corners or something? And, they just don't have the absolute talent that Max Verstappen has, and it's just demoralizing and just really bad for the mindset. So I'm sure that's a contributing factor. Danny Ricciardo held his own against Max and even beat him in 2 out of the 3 seasons they were as teammates. To be fair, Max was very young and inexperienced, which explains why, but Ricciardo was winning races and getting podiums, and I think that's probably because Ricciardo is very confident in his own abilities and he has the belief. It's not easy to break his spirit. He's very confident and very relaxed and just believes that he is capable. And I just think that is something that Albon and Gasly did not have when they were at Red Bull, which I think is probably the main reason why Ricciardo didn't struggle and Alex and Pierre do struggle, because they can buckle under the pressure. And Red Bull, to be fair, Red Bull really does put pressure on their drivers. I think it's a very I don't want to use the word toxic. I think that's the wrong word, because to be fair, I think the Red Bull Academy is better than the Mercedes. I mean, at least Red Bull gives their drivers a chance. They say, look, we're going to put you in the AlphaTauri and then we're going to put you in the Red Bull if you have proven yourself in the AlphaTauri that you're capable of being in that top team, that we are going to give you a chance. They do genuinely give their drivers a chance to shine. Whereas the likes of Mercedes have wasted Pascal Wehrlein, who I honestly believe Pascal Wehrlein was not a bad driver at all, and I think he would have been a decent second driver for Mercedes. Esteban Ocon they also wasted. To be fair, Ocon has not been amazing in his Formula 1 career so far, but they wasted him, and now it looks like they're wasting George Russell. So, if you're a young driver, you're looking at driver academies, the one driver academy you should not be looking at is Mercedes, because they'll probably just waste your career. And you should definitely look at the Red Bull Academy, because they will actually give you a chance. However, when they give you that chance, it's like all or nothing, do or die. You have to perform now. You have to do well. Otherwise, we are going to kick you out. And honestly, working for people like Helmut Marko, Dietrich Mateschitz, can't say his name properly, or Christian Horner, it must be quite scary, because you're constantly scared. What if you do badly? Are they going to be annoyed at you? And it's like, again, that has an impact on your performance, and it leaves you with a lack of confidence and just genuinely a bit of fear that you don't want to screw up. Otherwise, you're going to be given a very big berating by your boss. So that's probably another factor of why they've both just not performed that well. The thing is to note though, I don't want to be making excuses for either Pierre or Alex, because at the end of the day, it is Formula 1. It is a business. It's a cutthroat business. You have to perform. And the best drivers always perform. Like the world-class multiple world champions always perform when it's needed. Lewis Hamilton, for example, paired alongside Fernando Alonso. Nobody expected Lewis, the rookie, to come in and beat the reigning 2 times world champion. But he matched him in the same car, and that's what champions do. You look at Max Verstappen, first ever race in the Red Bull, he wins it. the best drivers, Sebastian Vettel in his first full season winning in a Toro Rosso. This is what the best drivers do when they're given a chance to perform. They perform, they do it immediately. They don't, spend so much time way behind their teammates, because if you do that, then you're immediately creating the image that you're not capable. And that's, there's a difference between the champions and the second tier number 2 drivers, and that's I don't want to be making excuses for P&I because they're being paid millions of pounds as well, or rather millions of dollars, so they have to perform. The simple as that. This is a cut for a business. If they not perform, then they should rightly expect to be demoted or kicked out, and their performances in that top team were frankly unacceptable, and you have to look at it. The Red Bull was either the second or the third best car, and if you're a capable driver, you should be winning races, you should be getting podiums. Now, as I said earlier, collectively, both of them have only managed 1 podium in total in 2 seasons, and it's just not right. So I understand Red Bull feeling apprehensive and demoting Gasly, and I'm sure we're thinking about demoting Pierre, and I completely understand why, and I expect that to happen at some point. But I think the problem with both Alex Albon and Pierre Gasly's approaches in Red Bull is that Alex Albon is far too aggressive. He almost reminds me of a 2015 to early 2018 Verstappen. So many mistakes, too impatient, going for risky maneuvers and making mistakes and crashing. And Alex Albon has been involved in numerous crashes, dive bombing Norris in Japan last year comes to mind, colliding with Hamilton in Austria this year comes to mind, and that's only 2. He's had so many, and it's, doing these kind of moves, being impatient and going for golds at the first opportunity, it can cost you a lot of points, and I'm sure he's lost a lot of points just through sheer crashes, and he's giving Red Bull mechanics a pain in the ass because they're now having to repair the car all the time because Albon's just making too many errors. And Gasly, he never went for moves when he was at Red Bull. He was always stuck. He was always too scared to go for moves and stuck behind cars and not making any progress throughout the race and being lapped by Verstappen on multiple occasions. And both of these approaches were just the wrong approach. And Verstappen is the complete driver. He doesn't go for risky moves anymore, but when he does, he always pulls it off, and he's fast and he's the complete package. And Gasly and Albon, their approaches are just the wrong approach. But the thing is, you have to bear in mind that Albon's really only had 1.5 years in the sport. He's still inexperienced. He's still not entirely confident and fully educated really on his driving yet, and he'll if he stays in Formula 1, he'll gain that experience. Now, whether the experience makes him faster or not, I don't know. At this point, I doubt it, but I'd like to see that. But and Gasly, he's been around a little while, but neither of them are as experienced as Verstappen, and maybe you gave them both time to grow, maybe they'll blossom, but that remains to be seen, really. See, that's the funny thing. When Pierre Gasly was at Red Bull, everyone was saying, "Oh, Pierre's such an awful driver," and I will admit, I was one of those people who was really criticizing him, saying this is an unacceptable performance. We were all attacking him, but that's because we didn't know any better. We all expected Gasly, because the fact that Gasly was replacing Daniel Ricciardo, who did such a great job in our Red Bull. You were expecting Gasly to maybe not necessarily be on the same level, but be close to it. But he was nowhere near, and we all didn't know better, so we all said, this is an unacceptable performance. But then, he went to AlphaTauri, which at the time was Toro Rosso still, and he did an extremely good job. Danny Kvyat, who was beating Alex Albon, who to be fair was a rookie, we all expected Kvyat to beat Gasly, but Gasly was beating Kvyat, and Kvyat had a whole year in that car. Gasly was driving that Toro Rosso for the first time in half a year, and he was still had to get used to the way the car behaved. But He was immediately on the pace, and he was really, beating Kvyat, comfortably. And the podium in Brazil, to be fair, he might have been lucky in a way, but he was there when it mattered to take the opportunity and grab it with both hands. And he did the same this year at Italy. He won the race. Okay, he was lucky with the red flag, basically gave him a free pit stop, but still, once again, he took the opportunity, grabbed it with both hands, and he didn't buckle under pressure. And that's not the only races. Honestly, Pierre's been great in the AlphaTauri / Toros ever since he was demoted. He's been fantastic. He's done well in almost every single race, and that's the thing. Like, Alex Albon looks bad right now in Red Bull, and look, I'm not defending him. It is a bad performance. He should be doing better. But what if we just demoted Alex Albon to AlphaTauri? See how he performs. Will he feel better there? Will he feel more comfortable and be able to push the car a bit more and challenge Pierre? Because honestly, I don't really know who's better between Albon and Gasly. That's why, for me, the ideal scenario right now, put Albon and Gasly in the AlphaTauri, in the same car, see how they do. And one thing that will really help answer this question of is it the driver or is it the car? Put a proven quantity in that seat. Put someone like Sergio Perez in that second Red Bull, because Perez is being booted out of Racing Point because he's had to make way for Sebastian Vettel. Put Sergio Perez in that second Red Bull seat, and let's see how he does. He's finished on the podium 8 times in cars that have no rights to be in the top 3 consistently, which is a fantastic achievement. And he's beaten most of his teammates, other than I think he lost in his rookie season. And he's also, to be fair, I think Lance has been better than this year. But still, Checo's a great driver. He's a proven quantity. Put him in that Red Bull. If Sergio does well in that Red Bull, we know that it's Albon and Gasly's fault that they didn't do particularly well. But if Checo is also underperforming, then doesn't that tell you it's the car? Doesn't that tell you that maybe Verstappen might be one of the very few drivers who can actually drive this car? And maybe the fact that he's getting all the support and his teammates not getting any support is maybe affecting the second driver in that Red Bull team. Or maybe, as I said earlier, maybe Max Verstappen is one of the greatest talents we've ever seen in Formula 1, and anyone is going to look bad against him, and we should maybe perhaps reduce the expectations and, give them a bit less stick, really. So, for me, that's the ideal scenario. Demote Albon to AlphaTauri after the season, and then put a proven quantity like Sergio Perez in the Red Bull. Really see who is better between Gasly and Albon, first of all, and then see, is it the car or is it the driver in regards to Checo's performance in that Red Bull. Now, you could even put Nico Hülkenberg in there. To be honest with you, I do think Hülkenberg is overrated. I do feel like his performance in the Eiffel Grand Prix has maybe boosted his reputation a little too highly. So I do think that for me, I'd take Checo over Hülkenberg purely because I feel like they're on a similar level. But for me, the difference is Checo takes those podium opportunities, he welcomes them, whereas Hülkenberg kind of bottles it under pressure. So I think Red Bull wouldn't want that. So put Checo in there and see how he does and see what happens, really. So to conclude, the dilemma of Red Bull's second seat is without a doubt gonna potentially hurt them in the future in 2022. If F1 becomes more competitive again, they're gonna need a better second driver, because right now they have nothing to lose, because they're so far ahead of everyone behind them and they're so far behind Mercedes. They're kind of in no man's land in second position. So right now, having a mediocre second driver is not really going to help them or hinder them. It's not going to make much of a difference. But in the future, they're going to need a second driver to do the job, and it's very confusing, and which is the whole point of why I've made this video. The whole second driver dilemma of why Gasly and Albon both did badly in that Red Bull, and we can see that Gasly has improved ever since he's left the team and is much happier in AlphaTauri. Maybe we should give Alexander Albon the benefit of the doubt, or maybe Max Verstappen is just an amazing driver who makes everyone look bad. But to draw it to a conclusion, perhaps we should give Alex Albon the benefit of the doubt, as we have now done with Pierre Gasly, and just wait it out, wait and see what will happen to the Red Bull second seat, and maybe just the entire team in the future. And maybe one day they will solve the whole second driver dilemma. But for now, it's a confusing one, and we don't have all the answers. I can only hope that Pierre continues to deliver the performances that he's capable of and is delivering at the moment. He's in great form. And I also hope that Alex Albon, doesn't complain too much about people racing them too hard and improves, because I'd like to see him improve. And time will tell what this whole situation is. One day the confusion will be cleared. But anyways, we'll wait for that to happen. And all I really have to say is thank you very much for watching, and take care.